I'd like to call this meeting of the Lammersville Unified Facilities Committee to order at 6:30. Roll call, please.
Stephanie Olson. David Pombo.
Here.
Sorry. Absent. My button wasn't on, sorry.
Jason Dixon.
Here.
Thorsten Harrison.
Here.
Munir Udin.
Absent.
Prabjot Madan.
Here.
Moving on to item 3, receiving of public comments. I see no blue cards and no one here to give public comments, so we will move on to facilities use update. Item A, facilities use minutes. Staff report?
Attached are the minutes. If anybody has any questions about the minutes from the last meeting or any adjustments, we can hear those now.
Thank you. Item B, finance report. Staff report?
As you can see, we have the expenses for the 23-24. Note that the red line items are a lot more than we usually have, and that is due to the fact that we had a lot of repairs and replacements that we did over this last fiscal year, such as the motorized blinds at Cuesta and the curtains at Altamont, and then we had the fence project and the windscreens and other items for the pool at the high school. So that is why the expenses were as high as they are at $228,000. But our balance is still at $399,777.44. So we are still doing well.
Thank you. Item C, facility usage report. Staff report?
Jason Dixon, Director of Operations, will give that.
Sorry.
You got it?
I got it. So, as you can see there in the first page, our main usage is in the evenings, typically between 5 and 8 p.m., mostly after school activities. And that's across the district. If you look on down, you can see there in Altamont, again, the multipurpose room is our biggest use right now. And if you go through, mostly when you look at Bethany, Cordis, or any others, you're starting to see the same thing. Hold on a second. The fields aren't being used as much just yet, but they will be now that spring is here and those sports are starting up. We're starting to see a lot more civic permits for those come through as well. Anything else?
No.
That's all I have on that.
Thank you. Item D, denied applications. Staff report?
Okay, so you see the attachment. We have about 11 denied or rejected applications. Various reasons, mainly due, some were due to non-payment by the first day. The accommodations were also given. They just resubmitted the permits. We also had requests for such as the cricket on the baseball field or the football fields. We don't allow that on those fields. And then we had a 2-hour minimum denial, and then a school dance for the NPR. It was submitted for a new available K-8 NPR that wasn't. So just nothing out of the ordinary, just average denials and rejected applications. As far as refunds processed, we had 2. One was just a deposit refund. They didn't use the facility. The other was a partial refund of a custodial fee. At last minute, we had a custodian cancel. So they received a refund that they had paid for that custodian. And that's all I have on that.
Any questions or comments by the committee on any of that?
No questions. Thank you.
Moving on to item 5, information and discussion items. Mountain House Cricket Academy. Staff report?
I don't see them here. We have a presentation that they sent us to present, but maybe we can move on with other items and see if they show up late. You all right with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to item B, community member term limit. Staff report?
So as a reminder, we do 2-year terms for our community members, and it doesn't seem like it's been 2 years, but Munir's 2-year term is up as of this meeting. So we'll go through the process of putting information out to the community to get volunteers, the same process that we've used the last years to get a replacement by our first meeting in the fall. So, and then we'll send him, he's out of country, so we'll send him a nice letter and thank him for his service. And, we want to thank him for all the work he did with this committee.
Very good, thank you. Item C, 2425 LUSD Facility Use Rental Policy Handbook. Staff report?
So each year we update the handbook, the Facilities Use Rental Policy Handbook. It can be anything from grammar that we find that's incorrect, as I've read it for the 97th, 100th time, to changes in pay, negotiated pay for our employees, to the banner changes that we made at this committee. So I'm just going to finger through the handbook, and Jen's going to follow along on the computer and point out some of the changes that are going to the board for the next board meeting. So I'm going to skip around a bit. So on page 9, you'll notice that there is what is that, a UPC or what's that symbol called? It's called a QR code. I couldn't remember what it's called. We have a QR code in there for the contact for facilities reporting. This is something that we talked about in this committee. If a community member's out there and sees a problem with one of our facilities, if they don't have a contact number or anything like that, Jason's team is going to put stickers like this and smaller ones out around our facilities so that people can just scan it and it takes them right to the website where they can report problems if they see problems with our facilities.
Can I add to that real quick?
Yeah, please do.
So I had these up at Costa to just see how this would work, and we had already received one from Costa, and it had to do with a grounds issue in the planters and all that. So we were able to basically forward that email over to Jimmy's team, and they're able to handle that. So sometimes we actually get one from that they're not sure where it's going, and it's going to a different, not facilities, and we're still able to forward that to where it needs to go and just have contact with the community that way as well. So.
All right. Is there a tab on the district website that would take you to the same place as this?
Yes, and this is actually connected to the district website's tab. You can find it on the website. It was just a little bit harder to find, and it's an easy access way.
Well, you can never seem to have too many ways to get to the end.
Yeah, and as my assistant's pointing out, there's in the handbook on the website, it's hyperlinked as well, so they could click on that as well. And then also on page 13, there's an adjustment. The high school gymnasiums will not be available for public use during home football games. We established that a number of years ago with this group because there's just not enough staff. And then we also added nor during promotion or graduation activities because we just don't have enough staff to have things on campus, especially at the high school when you have graduation of 500 kids now. We're a big school now. So, and then on page 26, that reflects the changes in pay. Now it does look like a big jump, the numbers from previous numbers, but what we did is previously we had the median pay for an average, for a custodian. So we decided to put the highest pay they could possibly pay depending on who would work after hours so that the individuals running facilities would know, okay, that's the maximum I'm going to pay. and it may be cheaper because the employee may be cheaper, at the time. So we changed that on there.
Is that explained in the handbook?
Yeah,
That
it
that's
is.
the max.
You know what? We didn't put that. I can add that if you think that would be good.
Probably
Okay.
a maximum of or not to exceed. Or,
Yeah. And then the other thing on that page is, and there is the spirit and the reality of how this was written originally. And where it says outside basketball courts, it says $5. And the intent originally was $5 per court. And that was not written on here. So we added $5 per court, which is still a great deal. We do have some groups that are using, 4 and 5 basketball courts outdoors. That's $1 a court. That's the best deal in California, I think, for a basketball court. So we adjusted that by court. And then on page 27, wait a minute. Sorry, I got the wrong page. Hang on. My tabs are failing. There we go. Then on page 30, we added Costa to the occupancy chart because Costa will have done its first year of being open, and we don't allow facilities to be rented for the first year of a school being open. So in June, when civic permits open, Costa will be available, and we have the cafeteria limits, the eating limits. We have the cricket field on there. That is a new field for our charts. That's on page 31. And actually, Costa's literally on page 32. So that is all going to be denoted in the facilities handbook moving forward after it's approved by the board. And then on page 34, this is something that we talked about as a committee this last year, and that's a banner fee schedule update. So the banner fee schedule update is in the handbook. This is the first year that we're doing this. This will start on August 1st for banners. So all current banner requests are ending July 31st. And the other thing that we're doing is we're taking the email addresses of all the people that request a banner so that we can send out a mass communication to folks to let them know how the changes in the fee structure. Now, if they're a 501(c) and they're in Mountain House or Tracy, nothing's changing. But if they are out of the city of Mountain House or Tracy, they're going to have to pay. If they're a for-profit organization, they're going to have in Mountain House or Tracy, they're going to have to pay $30 a month for a banner. And if they're a for-profit organization outside of Mountain House or Tracy, they're going to have to pay $50 a month for a banner to be up at our school sites. And I believe that is the last change that we've made in the handbook. Before it goes to board, I will add the verbiage that you requested, Mr. Pombo, on the max. The maximum, we'll put it down below with an asterisk and make sure that's clear. Any other changes anybody would like to propose before it goes to board on June 5th? Okay, that is the handbook.
Thank you. So at this time, we can circle back to item A, Mountain House Cricket Academy staff report.
I believe these gentlemen are here for the presentation, and we have the Jen will cue it up, coming up to the podium here.
So the presentation, we send it to you. Should we
Yep, she's putting it up,
put it up there?
and it's going to be over here too.
That's good. Thank you.
You bet.
We'll start? Okay. So Mountain House Cricket Academy, as we said, is MHCA in short. We started this close to a year back. It's a non-profit organization. Mainly doing it for kids to bring up the level of cricket, especially in Mountain House. This is basically very different from what adults play here. I mean, which is a very recreational form of cricket. This is more like a real scenario which is used as for example, USA has a men's cricket team, a women's cricket team, an under 19 youth cricket team for men and women today. And there is a structure in the US cricket that leads from youth cricket way up to U11, that is under 11, under 13, under 16, and up to under 19. And there is a real structure of a game. What we are trying to do is get the kids to train in and put them in that structure and grow them in that structure so that they can represent at the highest level for the country and play for the country. That's the motivation of the academy, and not a general recreational cricket, honestly. So in that sense, we are a non-profit. We are approved by the ICC, which is the International Council of Cricket, to conduct the training. So we have certified with them to conduct this training. We follow the US cricket guidelines. Then we trained kids as low as age from 5 to 15, 13, whatever they come up to. But we restrict the age group to younger kids, and then later they can, grow up to what they want to do later. So we have more than 30 plus members, kids usually, in the academy now, and we are growing month by month. And then our kids have represented US cricket matches already in the area, and they have performed pretty well. They get what we call as the MVP or whatever most valuable play awards also couple of times. And they can definitely represent zonal and national going forward. So that's the interest. So, and as you know, youth cricket is very growing exponentially, especially in Bay Area. We have like close to 20 to 30 academies in this area with whom we play matches every weekend and stuff like that to improve the quality of cricket. So close to 150, 300 kids play in each of these academy. Actually, different academies have different numbers, but still it's a very huge number actually if you see. And especially in this area is very significant, especially San Ramon, Pleasanton, Central Valley, and recently Manteca, Lathrop, in this area also very relevant. There is a cricket basically facility, at least minimum 1 or 2 in every city here. Actually, if you can name the city, we have a cricket facility there. Actually, honestly speaking, Mountain House will become a city, and we will be one of the cities actually who don't have a cricket field and a cricket ground, actually, honestly. I mean, just between us, I'm just telling what is the fact today. And then the teams are very good. Number one, this area, Florida, Dallas, couple of pockets are very well suited, especially because of the geography, the type of people, the type of climatic conditions where we can play throughout the year, except for some rains and all that. So we have generated multi-talented people, a lot of talented youngsters from this. Even in Pleasanton this year, an under 16 girl is representing US cricket at the national level today. That is a fact actually, and then there are multiple such kids already growing up to that level. So that is the interest. This year the World Cup for cricket is happening in East Coast and in the West Indies and those islands in summer of this year. Olympics is happening in Los Angeles actually, and Olympics will have cricket as one of the games, just like any other basketball, volleyball in the Olympics for the first time. So that is and that all happens because of the growing popularity of the game in this area right now. So yes, the scope for us is to nurture these kids with some right facilities, bringing cricket to school, and nurture this growing interest, and maybe represent our nation from one of our schools will be a very big achievement in my opinion. That is one of the reasons. Of course, we all play cricket coming from the subcontinent, that's a fact. But at the same time, our inherent motivation is that at least few kids can, get to some good level actually. That's always there. I mean, again, I'm just saying that this is not the adults recreation stuff. This is what we are doing is for the youth and the young kids here. So this is just the team. We just put a poster everywhere in our slides. some couple of people. So what happens is the basic infrastructure, as you can see in these things, right? We need a very level pitch, like what you see, it's a 22-yard pitch, and the ground is can be for the under youth 13. The ground can be like we can say a 50-yard ground. The pitch itself is close to 22 yards, and another 50 yard will become the ground, 50, 60 yards. There is no real limit, but that would be a good number. And we need we need the turf to be a bit less thicker so that the ball can travel actually. So that is why we feel, and usually cricket is played either in the artificial turf or in a very thin grass. For example, if you see the Cordes Park here or the Hanson Park, the grass is very thin where the ball can roll off. So that is the kind of grass you really need. General grasses don't work, but if you cut them thin, it will still work. But that's what usually is a good cricket, constitutes a good cricket ground and a level surface. The difficult part is getting a pitch like this, which is level and which has some artificial turf actually. So either as I said, you can use a roller like what I pointed out there and have a very good level turf and a roller and all that, which is very cumbersome to maintain, number one. Or you can just put an artificial turf like one of those pitches. The left one is a real good grass pitch. The middle one is a pitch, I think I took it in Ken Mercer ground in Pleasanton area. The last one is in Central Park in Fremont. Some of these pitches are actually in our area basically. And this is what constitute real pitch, a center pitch and a ground basically. So yeah, that is what it is. So that's why when we look at this thing, we felt that okay, the high school football ground is real like a cricket pitch where you have artificial turf there and we can use it. And certain places, for example, the Foothill High today in Pleasanton exactly uses that for all the cricket matches. They play cricket matches there. Even last week I umpired a match there. A very good ground. People have been using that for years now, and they give to the US cricket guys to or the other associations and clubs like us to play the matches in the weekend for young kids, not for adults, just for the youth. Because see, generally when we ask a sports facility that is not meant for cricket, especially in general thing is that, hey, will you damage it? Will you have any repercussions that I didn't anticipate because I didn't build it for that purpose. But the only good part in especially cricket and this kind of thing is if I were to build a cricket ground with artificial turf today, which is built in, for example, in the Fremont area, I would exactly build it the way we build a football stadium or a football pitch today. That's what I would do because that's much suited for the game. So that is why it works. Otherwise, we would not have even asked this, because when we ask, it becomes our responsibility to make sure that we don't do any damage to it. And the balls we use we can look at multiple aspects of it. There is no whatsoever problem we anticipate that can come. And then it's a secluded facility. It's for younger kids. So it helps in a lot of those aspects of security and many other things. So that is why our request was that at least for the weekend matches for these young kids, at least once in a week for few hours, can we open up the football field just for playing in the short term. Yes, in the long term, we have to work with you guys to figure out how to use the Costa pitch and that facility. That needs a bit more, as I said, the pitches today, as I understood, it's just a clay there. We don't have a artificial turf or any pitch there. And there are some more work we can do to make it very good. But I think there is a investment, there is a huge return on that investment based on the rental policies and whatever we can get on that if we manage it right. We can talk about it some other time, but our interest was that to see if we can at least open up in short term this facility for young kids, and in the long term we can work some way through based on where we are and what is the budget and many other aspects. the Costa facility, and then that can be the main facility for matches and all that. We don't have to use any other facility. And again, city should have provided it, but city doesn't have anything, so we are at the mercy of asking you guys, because you guys have a facility which we can use right now. Otherwise, I mean, that's the situation we are in, honestly. So anyway, that's the ask, and whatever you guys need, we can provide more details. But yeah, that's what we wanted to at least present to you guys. Okay, and request you to take it up and follow up with any data points. We will be more than glad to help you with. Thank you.
I feel for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't think our facilities are the right facilities for your needs. I think you really need to go to the CSD or the new Mountain House City and work with them and see if there's someplace, one of the parks, where they can allow you to build a pitch that fits your needs, or maybe they will build a municipal pitch for cricket. But at present, we have the cricket pitch at Costa, and we may put some cricket pitches in the future, but right now I don't know that we have anything that's going to work for you guys.
Any specific reason you guys think this won't work, or I mean what is that stops you from?
Yeah, because other cities are allowing that. So, and I'm sure this is the same material that they are using, right? So, is there any specific reason for not allowing?
Well, for one thing, the football field at the high school isn't designed for cricket, and I don't know of any other high schools in the area that are allowing cricket to be played on their artificial turf football fields. And to be honest, the football field gets more use than we like already with the current usages for our own students, as well as a few football and soccer, which it is designed for, that currently use it.
No, so that is why in my presentation also I mentioned to you that the Pleasanton Foothill High uses that, and I am sure that we have many people who represent our city from there, or in our schools also there are principals or teachers from there. You can or directly call them and ask it is available for rent, and US cricket matches and mini club matches for especially youth, only youth, they don't allow for adults for sure, are played there in the days where there are no football practices or any other event going on. So that is exactly same pitch you would have built in Mountain House, which is used in our neighboring area. So that is a data point which at least you guys should look into.
And we are only asking this for the short term, not like forever. Like as soon as the pitch
Costa
is built in
facilities.
yeah,
See,
we will stop doing that.
the fact of our interest, as I said, is we managed with these kids now for a year. They are at a stage of that development where they can play these kind of matches and grow further. And that is why it is time appropriate that we do something for them, honestly. I mean, otherwise, we could have waited for another year for some other thing to work out and all that. So that is why I requested that please take a double look, talk to Foothill High. If you guys are not convinced, I understand, still, but it is something if they can do to encourage cricket in there. And they have multiple schools like the Windmere Ranch Middle School, High School, the GRMS, which is the Gale Ranch. Everywhere they have a cricket pitch today. Alisal Elementary in Pleasanton has a cricket pitch today. Fallon Park is anyway, that's maintained by the city. They have cricket pitch. They have multiple other facilities for cricket also there. But the schools themselves in these areas are giving these cricket pitches today. In the Lathrop area also, STEAM, that academy also has a cricket pitch today. So I sincerely request you to take a look, especially with the fact that the Foothill High is giving this facility to youth in our area in the weekend, especially for US cricket.
And this is for our kids only, right? This is not.
Yeah,
something for adults.
we don't want this to be utilized for adults or any recreation purpose. This is very, very clearly only for.
We'll be very strict with that, so it's only for.
And
our kids.
we can even, as I said, we'll not play any kid more than even under 11 or under 13. We are not even looking at bigger kids or any other aspect right now, because this is very young kids, and I mean they're this tall. They're not even.
Could I make a comment on that?
Certainly.
So after we talked after the board meeting, I had this gentleman to my left do some research over in the Bay and find out about turf football fields and cricket use. And nobody over there allows cricket on their turf football fields that we were able to find. Pleasanton does have a football field that they weren't using for games that they allow cricket to be played on. That's a grass field that we discovered. That's what we discovered. Our field is 8 years old, I think, our football field. And one of the concerns is use. And one of the items later on this agenda is refurbishing the field, because we need to have that field last for a while, because it's $1.9 million to redo a turf field. And that's coming for the school district. And we have 6 soccer teams, 3 levels that play on it. We have 3 levels of football that play on it. And then we have a youth football league that's in the area that plays on the football field. That's it, correct? Athletic director?
And 2 levels of flag football.
Oh, and 2 levels of flag football. I'm sorry, I forgot. All of which are youth as well. There are kids, in our schools. So one of the things I would suggest is maybe that Mr. Dixon here can meet you out at Costa, and we could take a look at that field and see if there's improvements that need to be made on how it was designed and built. I know it was built for a TK8 school. It was built for kids, because that's what we do. We build schools for kids. So, we could do that and meet you part way. Rentals open on June 4th. So reservations on the 4th. So less than a month away, reservations will be open for the Costa facility for public use. So.
Any further comment by the committee?
No comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item D, facility improvements, total cost $35,708. Staff report?
So we would like to use facility use fees to cover the cost of the football field repair. As I just mentioned, one of the things that we are looking at is a 2-year contract with a company to come in to service our field. And what they're going to do is they're going to remove the debris, remove some of the infill, and clean it and resurface the for lack of a better term, the fake grass, and brush it. And then they'll redistribute the infill and then add more infill where needed, where the kids enter the field and exit the field where the infield has gone way too low. They'll do 2 maintenance this year, in 24-25, and 2 maintenance in 25-26. And they'll do the same service. The other thing that they will do is what's called GMAX testing, and that is testing the surface of the field to make sure that our players, when they hit their helmets on the field, it is the appropriate softness so that players won't get hurt. And That is a contract for the football repair and maintenance, and that will be for 2 years. So it'll be 4 services.
The service and testing, does this price include anything that they might find is necessary from the testing?
No. So if there is, let's say there's a tear or damage that we haven't noticed, that would be more money. Adding more infill is included. So if there's areas that don't have enough infill, they'll move stuff around or add more infill to make sure that it's done right. We've never done this to this football field in 8 years. It's lasted pretty well. And I think that's because initially we only had one football team and one soccer team. But we've built so much now, it's getting a lot of use, so it really needs some service.
I'm assuming that adding, and when you talk about infill, you're talking about little black
Yep.
sand-looking rubber balls
Yep.
that are in there. I'm guessing that adding more of those would address issues with the hardness of the field.
Yes, because it lifts the grass up, like up more upright instead of laying it down. When it's laid down, it becomes harder. When it's more upright, it's more like grass. At least that's how it was explained to me.
All right.
And then the second item,
I have
Yeah.
a small question on the first item. So I see that $21,408 have been listed against the field repair for the football team. So is this 21,000 spread out across 2 years, or is it 21 per year?
it's for the whole service. 2
Okay,
years.
so 4 services in 2 years.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's about $5,000 a service.
Right.
And change. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The second item is Lammersville. Well, let me back up. A year ago or so, this group approved the addition of stage curtains on school sites that didn't get them when the schools were built. And we added some stage curtains, I think, to Bethany, Wickland, and I think one other school, and I can't recall at this point. At that time, we didn't do anything with Lammersville's stage curtains because they were still in pretty good shape. Well, we went and had a tour, and Ms. Duran indicated that she needs some new stage curtains, and this is how we did it last time, so I told her I'd bring it to this group and use facilities use fees to replace the stage curtain at Lammersville Elementary School for $14,300.
I don't have an issue with either of those expenditures using facilities use fees. I'll open it up to further conversation by the committee.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item E, LUSD, MHCSD pool and tennis 2-year agreement update. Staff report?
So I just wanted to close the circle on this. As this group knows, the tennis agreement with Mountain House to use our school tennis courts when our children aren't using them as a service to the city and the community. We have a 2-year agreement to do that. That was already approved by the board and went through this group. The second item was the pool use during the summer, which this group always proofs at this time of year, and we go through this committee. The city of Mountain House has decided not to renew the pool agreement. So we will not have a pool agreement coming through this committee from the city. I just want to make sure everybody knew
For
that.
next year.
For next year or the foreseeable future, unless they
Uh-huh.
contact us and ask in a different time.
All right. Well, we can't make them do anything. Thank you. Item 6, future agenda topics and meeting dates. Staff report?
So we have proposed dates for next school year that are similar to the dates that we had this year. They are September 19th, November 7th, February 6th, and May 8th, with our optional meeting occurring on March 13th. I can have my assistant send these out via email and make sure everybody's good with them, and then we'll get them on the master calendar. All right?
All right.
And then the other thing that we added under future agenda topics is one that we've been working on for many years, and that is water fill stations. I think that came from you, Mr. Pombo. I don't know how many years ago that happened.
It's so long ago, I forgot.
I know. I have our director of maintenance working on a proof of concept, which we talked about at the beginning of this year at Wickland. We have a location, we have a supplier for the water fill station, and we have somebody that can wire for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how much time and cost it is to do it ourselves, bring that to this group, and hopefully find a quote for an outside agency to do it and see if we want to move forward or not. Previously, we were tasked with doing it in-house, and we just didn't have the staff for 12 months. We were understaffed in multiple departments, so it prevented us from actually getting this assignment done. Moving forward, I'm confident that our guys will have something mocked up this summer and working, and when we come to the first meeting, I'll bring pictures, I'll bring cost estimates and all that, so that we can try to get this put to bed, because this has been a long time.
When you say something mocked up, are you talking about the actual installation at one of our campuses
Yep.
of a unit?
Yep.
Okay.
And we're using
That-
Wickland is our guinea pig. We already did one at Lammersville many moons ago, and we did most of that ourselves. But prices have changed a lot. Anything made of steel has tripled or quadrupled. So we're gonna do it again at Wickland and figure out the electrical cost, and we think we can do the plumbing and the install and see how it looks and how we can make it work. And we'll bring that in report.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to have one installed so that we can compare not only the cost, but also the time and effort that's involved in doing it, so that we can actually compare apples to apples when we look at outside entities
Yeah.
performing the,
And the most
Potentially.
difficult part of it is staff time, right? So that's, if you have, well, like we had it at Altamont, you have a gas line break, and you have two of those staff members go over and dig out the hole, break out the cement, find where the gas line breakage is, and then have the plumber come in and fix it, and then backfill and repair the cement and do all that. That's 3 days, and they're doing things like that all the time. So emergencies outweigh, those types of activities.
right.
So.
All right. And was there something else on the banner fee, or did we go over that already in the?
Well, I wanted to do an update. So we're going to implement in August 1, the banner tier system. And we're going to adjust who is in charge of that. Right now, I do the banners through my office and through the receptionist here in this office. This is going to be moved to his division, to his assistant in operations. And hopefully at our first meeting or our second meeting, we'll be able to give a status of how many groups were outside groups, how many groups were inside, Tracy and Lammersville, and how we're doing and how well we're doing with getting people to give us their 501(c)(3). That is going to be, because we're going to demand it, because we have a structure now and we're making sure you have it. So
Yeah.
that'll be a report back to see how it's going.
This is kind of not exactly what we're talking about, but I noticed there is a banner, and it was a couple of weeks ago. Then I noticed that I was at an event at which campus was it? Altamont. There's a banner there that just looks horrific. It's tattered and windblown, and the grommets are stuck to the fence, but most of the rest of it is just flopping in the wind, and we really need someone to
So
tear those down.
just an update on that one. So I know exactly which one you were talking about. I try to do audits on all the campuses, and the other day I was at Altamont doing that audit, and that particular banner is now down and gone.
Very good.
And then there was another one as well. It was the same thing, same issue. So
Uh-huh.
2 banners actually from Altamont, and the rest of them, I carry zip ties in the car and just zip tie them down when needed. But if they're torn and ragged, they come off. I try to contact, if I can read it, the group and at least let them know. That particular banner, I couldn't read it, so I don't know who that was. So
All right.
So a part of that is training as well, and the site custodians are responsible for that. And Mr. Dixon here is in charge of them, and he's going to make sure their training is up to date. And sometimes that happens when we have a sub, and they don't know exactly what they're supposed to do throughout, you know. So,
Yeah.
but there's no excuse, and we'll do a better job on that.
One thing that we can potentially do as far as getting the paperwork from the nonprofits or the payments from the for-profit is tell them if they don't fulfill their obligation, their banners are coming down, and it might take a while to get them back up.
Yes, our plan was we're not going to put it up until we have the proof. So they're going to get an email of all the banners that we have gathered emails from over the last few months, and it's going to be mandated. It says it in our handbook, and it says it on the form. You must have this. And we've been lax over the last few years because there's been nothing in town for our kids. So we were friendly in the posting of stuff because there wasn't much in town. Well, town's being built, and you know, our schools don't need to look like Wrigley Field anymore.
Yeah. Very true.
So will the next school year be the first school year when this tiered fee system for the banners will be implemented?
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and August 1st
Right.
is because all current banners are ending July 31st. So whenever a banner comes in and they want to go past July 31st, I say, nope, they're all ending on the 31st because on the 1st we're starting a new procedure. And that'll go through his office.
Right.
Will the existing banners all come down, or will they just have to re-up?
They'll just have to re-up. So if they're I always say this wrong, 5013C, they're going to have to provide proof. It's a kind of a renewal, right? We're resetting ourselves. Previously, they could just put in their number and we didn't go check, right? But now we're going to check. We're going to make sure that everybody's following the procedure.
Very good. And item B is the meeting dates, which you already mentioned and said that we would be getting an email with those dates.
Yes.
Is there anything further, or shall we adjourn?
If anybody realizes other agenda topics you want for the first meeting in September, you can email them to my assistant and we'll get them on there and go from there.
All right. And by then, we may have different board members sitting on the committee.
Yeah. Okay. I must say, just anecdotally, this group did a lot this year. The door changes at 3 schools for safety, the fencing at the high school, some field repair. I mean, we did a lot with a couple of the NPRs, and we were very productive this year.
And I appreciate everyone on the committee, as well as all the staff manpower that it took to get all those things done. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.